Wonderful. So, welcome everyone. I'm just going to pull up Facebook on my phone as well so we can see you all as you are joining. But welcome to today's live session with this wonderful lady, Connie Overby. I have been so excited to come and share this one with you. And it's something that Connie and I have, talked about sort of back and forth probably for quite a while, actually, haven't we? It's never been lost on us, the synergy and the way that such a lot of the self-image work that, of course, I speak to regularly in this community in relation to mindset and, of course, your beliefs and your self-concept and who you feel yourself to be, like really being at the heart of such a lot of, the work that I do and everything that we share in here. But Connie, of course, sort of her expertise, and, we will hear from Connie in a second, her expertise, of course, as a personal stylist, working with clients all over the world, really is on that outer image, okay, and of how the changes that we make, in the way that we present ourselves, in the way that we show up, and that outer image, just how much that also influences who we feel ourselves to be, right? Like, so it's this idea of the inner and the outer really coming together, really complementing one another, and how it's not ever such a straightforward, you have to feel yourself to be this way and then everything follows from there. Yes, absolutely, it can work that way. But today is all about, you can really, shift and influence things coming the other way too. So how you present yourself, how you show up externally, and the impact that this then has. Okay. So if you are watching us live, let us know. I can see a few of you jumping on. So do let us know. Facebook isn't telling me that that you are technically with us, but I can see now some of you coming across and typing in the comments. So if you are with us live, do let us know, say hello to us. So Connie, would you like to, I guess, first by way of an introduction, before we sort of get into what we're going to be chatting through, tell us a little bit then about the kind of work that you do, and actually I'd love to, I know this, but I would love for everyone that's watching and tuning in just to understand a little bit, I guess, of, quite frankly, your love for all things style and fashion, because this lady lights up when she starts talking about this stuff. Like we were saying when we were talking earlier in the week, I'm like, Connie, this is your art, So I'm going to hand over to you for a more maybe official introduction of sort of what you do, the type of, like how you help people in this work. But yeah, just give us a little bit of background, I guess, about how you see this, how you see style and the impact it has.
Yes, thank you. I'll start with your last, what you referred to last, my love for this and how this is just me. When I was little, and our usual holiday would be a boat trip. Like we had a boat, and we would go travel and stay on islands and do those things that you do in a boat. And I would, at the age of like 5, insist on wearing like this ball gown. Everyone else were like in shorts and bathing suit, and I was in my ball gown. My parents had to like take it when I was sleeping and clean it because I would never take it off. So it's always been there. I just enjoy it so much. It's my passion. It's my hobby. It's like you say, what lights me up. So and I've come to realize, in the beginning, or when I wasn't working with it, you can make the assumption that it's very shallow and superficial, and you should be concentrating on deeper things. But I honestly think that this is my way. This is my gift. I'm good at this, and this is how I can help. And I just love to do that. I feel that when I work with clients, it's making me so happy when they feel better and they just see themselves very differently when they wear clothes that bring out the best in them.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, I love that you say, and I love that you own it, by the way, as well, that this is my gift. And it really, I mean, I agree with you. I don't need much convincing, in fairness, on any of this, but I really agree that on the surface, you know, it could be seen, but this is also where we need to shine a light on this of why would it be seen as shallow, right? Like it shouldn't be. And it's truly a representation, how we show up and who we decide we get to be, you know, really shouldn't be something that we shy away from or that we hold back, that we shrink from. What I love and what's interesting, and again, it's no surprise for you sharing that story of being a 5-year-old that's there in her ball gown, right? And I'm kind of now getting right into it, but we're just going to trust that this conversation will flow. And by the way, you guys, those of you that are on with us live, we've got a few questions that people have sent in. But if any of you, as we're speaking, if questions come up, please type them below. I've got my phone here so I can keep an eye on comments, and we'll get to them for you. But you know what I love, and I think this for me as well, I guess even just in some of the work that I do, where I talk a lot about, you know, you have your desires for a reason, you know, like the things that you resonate with, the things that you love, trust them, right? Like they are yours for a reason. One of the things that I love about you, Connie, that becomes apparent, you know, if ever you start talking about this kind of stuff, is that you've just said, you know, ever since the age of 5, you were like that. That I sort of realized just in conversations I have with people, that's not, well, and you'll realize this too, that's not necessarily the norm. Like, unfortunately, the norm sometimes is that we shrink back, like, oh, I can't possibly, you know, show up like that, wear this particular thing. And, you know, in particular, there may be, you know, I want to say like women in particular, but I'm sure, you know, we've got some guys watching too, and it probably applies to them too, where we don't see ourselves as a match for certain things either. You know, you've got stories I know that you can share on this, where again, you've never had that. I love that. Like you've always said, that was never, you know, something that you ever felt like I don't belong here in certain stores and things like this, like regardless of, you know, even
I've never
yeah,
felt like that. I've even though, you know, I've you know, not always been able to or have the budget to shop in stores like that. I've always just you know, loved the feeling of going in there and being there, just the atmosphere and the you know, I think in my mind, I was thinking someday this will be available to me. It never occurred to me that, you know, this is totally out of your league. Why are you even here? Like that. I just enjoy being there and just indulge in all the beautiful clothes and craftsmanship that goes into beautiful shoes and handbags and all of that.
Exactly. And that's what I love. And again, this is where that kind of like that inner, like the inner self concept, the inner beliefs and ideas that you have of yourself, for you, they've always been a match. There's never been anything for you that's kind of, that's not for me, or that's out of my league, or any of those things. It's always been, no, I'm comfortable, and in a real appreciation, like I love that, like a real appreciation for the detail that goes into, you know, I guess here we're talking about maybe those higher end, more exclusive designer you know, brands, really always having that sort of feeling comfortable in those kinds of environments. But talk to us about, you know, this is interesting where, and I wonder if, and again, if any of you are watching, let us know if this resonates with you, where you could be someone that actually has got the budget to, even if it's just occasionally, treat yourself to things like, you know, I'm sure there are many people in this community and or watching where you have got the budget, let's say, to every now and again treat yourself to, you know, a beautiful pair of shoes or the designer bag or whatever it might be, but that you feel nevertheless you feel uncomfortable, like you would feel uncomfortable going into a Chanel or a Dior or a, you know, a Jimmy Choo or something like this.
Yeah, this was surprising to me when I started to work as a stylist, and I forgot to answer the second part of your question, how I work. I will explain about that later.
Weave it in.
Yeah.
Weave it in.
But anyway, so I've worked with quite a few clients, and my niche has been really to women or men that are in corporate world, because that's my background. So I know very well what's required of you know, type of top corporate positions and those environments. What does your style has to, what your style when you work in those environments has to reflect and say about you. You know, when I work with these partners in like great management consulting companies and likewise, you know, one of them, she said, or several has said, like, I wouldn't even go into Jimmy's shoe if you weren't here. I'm so intimidated by the whole store and the whole setup, and I would feel completely lost. So just having me by their side and you know, being comfortable, that's my home arena, right? So I can I can shine there, whereas they have their own arena, right? So just surprising to me that someone who has gone so far and is you know, incredibly accomplished in their career would even have that barrier. I found that surprising, but you know, I understand it now, and I love that I can be that person who can help them in a situation like that. And also it's an abundant experience to go into a store like that, because they do treat you really well, and there's just something about enjoying that experience and enabling that I like. So, you know, circling back to how I work, you know, it's very individual what my clients want, but in general, it looks like this. We start with a wardrobe analysis. So we go through what's already there. Focus on shopping your own closet. I will, you know this, I will ask people to try on very many different outfits from their own closet, so that I can get an idea what suits you and perhaps what doesn't. I can put together outfits from what you already have. We do take a lot of pictures, which I found very helpful. It's something that people can use at home as well, because, you know, if you can compare one pair of trouser to another in pictures, it's so easy to see which one suits you the best. So that's we use that a lot. And also when I go back after that to start looking for what we have agreed on, then I can refer back to those pictures and remember and see, yes, that was the trousers that works the best, or the skirt length, or the type of dress, or whatever. So there's this interaction that we have first via Zoom or in person if they're close to where I live. Then we agree on, you know, through the dialogue we have in the wardrobe analysis, we agree on what we should, what I should be looking for to build your wardrobe further and find items that are, you know, timeless, classic, elegant. You know, if you miss pieces that are part of the essential wardrobe, I will always recommend you start there. So we agree on the list, and then I start to work, and I find I will end up sending you a list with pictures and links and everything for clothing that's perfect for you, your body shape, where you work, what you prefer. You know, some people have asked me to find sweatpants for their cabin trip, and I did that with pleasure. And someone was, you know, wanted more like the pure work wardrobe. So yeah, it's kind of individual.
And this is what's so good, I think, as well, is that sort of getting what I think you're great at. And actually we'll get to this when we get to questions, because I know a few people are wanting to know more on this sort of area in particular, of like, okay, if this is your budget, what, you know, where do we go? But I think one of the things that I loved, you know, having been on the receiving end of experiencing this with you, is the fact that you make recommendations, and then within each of those recommendations, it's also like, if this was your budget, I mean, and you talk about that in advance anyway, but, you know, if you had this would be the one I'd recommend. If this was your budget, then this, you know, you're always offering kind of options within, which again, I think, you know, is key and is important. Before we get to...
I want to add, sorry to interrupt you, but it's important for me to say that what I'm really good at is finding stuff at high street stores that look, you know, not high street, that look expensive and look more that is quality, right? So with something like Sarah or H&M,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that aren't, you know, necessarily the best quality, but there are also items that are amazing, amazing quality, amazing fit, you know, perfect for what you're looking for. So, you know, that is my expertise. I know what's out there. So, and I know where to look. So I will always weave in both or not always, but, you know, most clients would love a mix of high street and designer. So
exactly, that's so true. And you are, I can speak firsthand, you are so good at that. And I think what is good is that because you're always following, you know, kind of the trends, the, you know, the designer, you know, what's sort of coming out, you've also got that eye for the equivalent in the high street, I guess, that maybe, you know, for many of us, if our focus is elsewhere, you know, like for me, my passion is what I do, doesn't mean I don't love, you know, presenting and looking a certain way, but it's like, okay, I don't have the kind of the bandwidth even to sort of know, whereas again, it's you in your area of what you love. To touch on, and I guess, you know, what's at the heart of some of what, you know, I love about this, and where I wanted to go a little bit more, I guess, today, was this idea of, can you share with us, you know, from people, I guess, that you've worked with, the impact, like the transformations that you see firsthand, I guess, of when someone, I think, I mean, interestingly, as I'm even just reflecting on it now, I think there's an element of someone even just allowing themselves to work with someone like you in some respects, of like, actually, you know what, I'm gonna take some care about how I look and how I show up and how I present myself. But yeah, talk us through what, you know, what some of these transformations that you've seen, and the impact that when you dress a certain way, how the impact goes beyond just how you look externally, because I know you've got some good stories on that one.
Yes. So my favorite story is my client from Sydney. She contacted me the first time we started talking was she sent a question to one of my Q&As that I do on Instagram. You know, I do Instagram lives and I take fashion questions. And her question was, I am turning 70 and do you have any recommendations on how I should dress as an older person? And so I answered this question during my live session, and I said, what is old? You know, my mother is 73. She's insulted if someone offers their seat on the bus, because she does not consider herself old. So, you know, I would not consider you old. I would consider you a client, and I would probably recommend most of what I would recommend to someone who was 25 or 30, because there are classic items that I believe are lifesavers and pieces that you will wear and have forever, that I do recommend that everyone has, because it makes life easier, and it will always you always have something to reach for, to look pulled together in you know, an instant. So and that's how we started talking. And she ended up, I mean, she was clueless, and then I worked with her body shape, and we put together some beautiful outfits. You know, she wanted specifically an outfit for her 17th birthday. So, you know, she said, I felt like the most elegant woman. I was the most elegant woman in the room, she said. Wow. She felt so good. And before, you know, when we did our wardrobe analysis and we were speaking, I was like, oh, but she didn't have kids. She hadn't been married. So I was like, are you dating? She's like, no, I was the furthest thing from her mind to even like enter that thought, to entertain the thought. And then when we were finished at the end of, when we were, you know, at the end of our experience together, she was like, so Connie, what would you recommend I wear on a date? So she had gone from like, that's not even, I'm old, I'm like, that's not happening. And then to feeling so good about herself that she was ready to you know, go out there and start dating. So I think that is just incredible. That is the power that clothing can have, because you can go from feeling lost and ugly and clueless to feeling like the most elegant woman in the room. If you have proper help, or you do your research.
That's incredible, isn't it? I love that, Connie. I love that. And it really
I have another story as well that illustrates it so well. It's again one of those corporate C-level women she's supposed to host an event. It was a huge gala dinner, and she was there with the managing director of this super international company. She's very nervous, and then I found her a gown, and she said, when I stepped on that stage, I felt so confident. I've never had that feeling where I didn't have to worry, because I knew that I looked the part, and I just didn't have to even think about, worry about what other people would think about what I was wearing, and if I would feel comfortable, or she just felt so good. And she said that helped me so much to concentrate on the message that she had to
I love that. And that's so powerful. I think I can really resonate with that second example of, again, this idea almost of, and we talked about this on our client call, funnily enough, this morning, right? This idea of like almost like getting into character. When you put us that, we all will have, well, many of us will have certain outfits that when you step into them, you embody. This is a word I've been loving this week, but this idea of like, you really embody that persona, like that energy, like it shifts. You and I were joking, or I was joking with you, saying, Connie, I've got heels on for you today, right? Like no one can see them, but I've got heels on. And I said, what's interesting is I'll often do that. Like if I'm doing masterclasses, many of you in this group you'll see, like you see a shift from how I present myself when I'm doing a masterclass to when I'm maybe just jumping in and doing a live, midweek with an idea I want to share with you all. And again, that's important. Like that is important for how you're showing up, the energy that's kind of then coming to and through you. It just opens you up. And so to go back to like what you were saying around, like you feel like this is your gift, like it really is a gift if you can help others access that, because of how they're presenting. If that helps the person feel like they belong more, like we talk about this idea, don't we? So many people talk about that, like fake it till you make it, or imposter syndrome. But actually, to me, like when you take care of some of this external image, it helps reduce that. Like that's what that client of yours, I guess, is speaking to, right? Like it was one less thing for her to have to even think about.
Yeah, and I think for the crowd that we have here on Facebook, it's important to try to get clear on the message that you want to send out with how you dress. I mean, what does your brand want to say, and does the way you dress reflect that in the way that you want it to? Because style is a way of introducing yourself without having to speak, right? So
I love that.
So it's great when they're aligned.
Yeah, if you have that aligned. Yeah, yes. I absolutely love that. That's so true. So true. I'm seeing some questions coming in on Facebook as well. So and I've got a few here. So let's maybe change track, and we can then from these questions pick up and weave in some of the other concepts and things. Anyway, the sun is not being my friend. Look, when I move forward, it's right in my eyes, but it is what it is, you guys. So Amanda, hi, great to have you with us as well. Amanda Parnham is asking, hi, Connie and Karen. She says, I got rid of the entire contents of my wardrobe, clothes, coats, shoes, bags. Look, you see, I've been only wearing the same few leggings and sweatshirts since COVID and hadn't opened my wardrobe for 2 years. I felt that my style had changed as the clothes were a few years old anyway, and I'm older now. How do you recommend I go about getting myself a new capsule wardrobe? Where do I start? Thank you.
So this is a question I get a lot. Now, obviously, I have just said that you should think about getting clear on the message that you want to send out. It's clearly different if you are someone that wants to be edgy, or wants to be an artist, or wants to be a successful corporate business woman. So that is clear. That is important to get clear on. And then but there are a few like basics that I will always recommend, like a fitted white shirt, a pair of dark jeans, some simple high-heeled, as high as you can go, even though it's just a little bit of height, it will always help. Some black pumps, a trench coat, or at least a coat. I love coats because whatever you wear underneath, you know, you can pull the coat over and you can have some nice shoes, and you know, you look impeccable. So coats, and you know, you have 7 seconds to make a first impression. So, you know, my advice will always be invest in a great coat or outerwear and shoes.
Oh, this is good. And this is going to
I think also with the shoes, you know, shoes can ruin. If you have a beautiful dress or a beautiful outfit and the shoes are wrong, it won't work. So shoes are important.
This is good, because I know I've just seen Elizabeth had typed in here as well. Let me see. Facebook keeps losing the comments. Can you share your top 3 fashion faux pas for women? So the top 3 don'ts. I'm wondering if shoes might creep in, but go on.
Oh, this is difficult.
I can tell that she's probably like, okay, how do I say this without sounding like I'm being judgy?
No,
and like,
no, okay. I genuinely think it's difficult. I think it's not. When you don't realize what I've just said, that you are sending a powerful message with the way you dress, and people will judge. You know, like it or not, people will judge you. We can do this exercise afterwards with imagining people and what you perceptions you have of those people, even though you don't know them. But that's a very important point. I would say that they don't realize that you are sending out messages with the way you dress, and therefore it's important to take care. I think shoes, at least in Norway, I don't know, I've lived in the UK, so I think this might be relevant for women as well, referring back to what I just said, that if you have the wrong shoes, you know, the outfit can be as nice as, or the dress, you know, if you have a nice, in Norway, people can wear like short summer dresses and closed black shoes, and that just ruins the whole look, if you ask me. So shoes, not understanding the impact that the right shoes can have. And then maybe not just clothes, but you know, not paying attention to nails, and just try to make an effort. I think just will lift the way you feel about yourself, and you know, the way you carry yourself. So simple things that to take care of your nails and cuticles, and you don't have to have like long claws. Just make sure that it's well groomed and you look put together.
It's so true. And I can remember, you know, when I very first got into this, again, mindset work and thinking about the self-image and, okay, well, who do I want to be? And how do I, again, it is that, like, how do I want to feel? How do I want to show up? And interestingly, well-groomed was something I always used to like be writing down. And it's interesting, actually, like just with you using that word, how I reflect back now to how I used to think of myself then, was I didn't used to think of myself that way at all, which is really interesting, actually, because I wouldn't say that now. Now, am I always well-groomed? No, sometimes definitely not. But I feel, in terms of, you know, coming back to, well, how I see myself and carry myself, and, you know, on the whole, I would say, yeah, I am. And it makes a huge difference. And taking care of those small things.
I want to add a point that I just remembered now. I think one of the biggest mistakes that people do is that they don't know how to dress for their body type. So when they go shopping, they can see something nice that's on display, or if they scroll through internet, you know, Instagram, you can see some influencer wearing something that looks fabulous, and you want to go and buy that, but then it does not work for your body type. So someone has asked me in one of these Q&As, like, how do you pick out these gems from Sarah? How do you know? And
And she does pick out gems from Zara. You need to follow her. Elizabeth, you need to put Connie's details in the chat so people can follow her and get all the good stuff.
No, one thing that I know is I know what works for my body. So, you know, I can just immediately eliminate mini skirts. They're not for me. You know, suits that are oversized. I'm wearing a fairly oversized blazer today, but I will always match it with slim trousers to have that balance. So that works for me. So, you know, that's much easier to shop when you know what works for your body type and what brings out the best for your body type. So that's probably number one of what people mistake people do.
Yeah, I could see that actually. And it's a shame, isn't it? Sometimes it's a tough pill to swallow. Like I'm very petite, like 5'2", and you know, very kind of petite build. And for a while, actually, in fact, Connie, maybe I need to get you on the case. For a while, I've been in love with these like big, chunky, oversized cardigans that I see people wearing, and they look so good. And I honestly, like, I've ordered so many where I'm like, okay, this one might work, and it doesn't. I just look like I'm wearing my dad's sweater. It's ridiculous. It's not the look, right? See,
no, but that's when you just have to go like, okay, it doesn't work for me.
It doesn't work for me, but I'm still adamant that
let's move on, right? So you don't have to.
I don't waste the time. I know. You're right. I do.
Or we can find something that works for you that has the same vibe.
Yes, exactly. I will. I'll get you on the case. Right. Let's see. We've got some more questions here. Claudia, if I'm saying your name right, I hope so. How would you balance corporate style and still dressing in a feminine way? Oh yeah. Okay. I can.
This is my favorite. I love this. No, but I think it's so easy for us women to work when you work in a male environment to feel that you have to wear a blazer and a skirt that goes just above your knee, which you know, for most women is not a good look with the skirt that's just above their knee. So this is a great way to show your personality. Wear a dress that is you know, the right length, not too sexy but still showing your femininity. You know, use details like some frills and some details like the way it's made. Find something that is classic but has a little detail. Use jewelry. That's a great way of expressing yourself. Shoes, you know, you can have the most boring dress, but if you have some kick-ass shoes, you know, the outfit is just incredible. I think also bags are a way to show your femininity, and you can play with that a little bit too. So I love a blazer, but I don't love the blazer with the skirt. You know, pair it with other pair of pants or over a dress, for example. If you have wide leg pants, which is great, you know, don't wear it with a blazer. Wear it with something that's perhaps a little bit not as wide or more feminine. So
yeah, no, I think that's such great tips actually. And I cringe, it's funny, I cringe back to how I used to, like when I very first was in the corporate world, how I used to dress. It was very much that, exactly what you've described, like that classic, you know, just almost like a suit, like the female version, right?
Right. So I understand, of course. And you don't want it when you're a woman and you're doing a career, you want to be recognized for what you say and what you have to bring to the table and your brain, not what you're wearing. So I understand it's very safe.
Yeah.
But you know, it's one of my most fun things to do, to find wardrobes for.
But as you exactly, because as you own who you are more, and maybe I found this easier as I got older, I actually think you can use it to your advantage, right? Like the whole, like really having your femininity work for you in that environment, but in a way that, as you say, is balanced, as the question was asking, I guess. Right, let me have a look. We've got more questions coming in. I'm just checking you're all right for time, Connie, but
yeah, I'm fine.
Perfect. Right, so Shandon is asking, you know, hi Connie, as I've got older, my body shape has completely changed. My hips are much slimmer now than when I was younger, but my top half is bigger. Any tips on what would suit, please? I love wearing great clothes.
Yes, I think it's all about creating that balance, right? So if you have, even if you have wider hips and you're smaller up here, or the other way around, it's about trying to create that balance. So I would say perhaps try some wider trousers, try skirts that are, you know, A-line and longer than you perhaps used to. So try to avoid if you're top heavy, try to avoid like skinny jeans, and because that will just enhance that shape. So try to balance out.
Yeah,
And
that's
I think
a good one.
in general, if you have a big bust, then the V shape is always flattering.
Yeah, these are great.
Showing your, what is it, décolleté?
Yeah, I probably won't say it correctly, but décolleté.
It's embarrassing. I should know, but you know, show this area.
Yeah. No, that's really helpful. I like that about balance, because that's something, as you rightly say, then we can, no matter which way around we are, you can flip it, right? It is that, isn't it? I've got some questions here as well that people sent me. So let me see. I think this will be a one that, again, will resonate with many people in the group, especially, like, I love the way that, and again, Elizabeth's already dropped your Instagram handle once in the chat, but the best place, you guys, because we're barely scratching the surface of what Connie shares actually, is do make sure you go follow Connie over on Instagram, because she does, as you've said, you do Q&As quite a lot, but also you've got what I loved, and I actually quite frankly would be saying, you all need to get this. Like, if you sign up for your newsletter, you get these your wardrobe essentials, and they're timeless, they are so good. But it probably speaks to this question. So Lisa has asked, so in relation to kind of like wardrobe essentials, if you are on a limited budget, okay, in particular, what would you splash out on, and what would you, I guess, like, you don't need to go and spend a ton of money on, you know, whatever it is here, like what? Yeah, go ahead. You'll get this question a lot, I know you will.
Yeah, I kind of answered it a little bit earlier in our conversation. True. So definitely outerwear, I think it's quite important. So if you can, if you should spend money, outerwear is a great place to start, especially if you live, you know, in countries like ours with the 4 seasons, and that is a great investment. And shoes, it doesn't have to be a lot of shoes, but it has to be, you know, at least, you know, 2-3 pairs that, you know, you can use again and again, and you will always know that it's the pulls the outfit together and doesn't ruin the rest. I think a real timeless. If you can buy a great pair of jeans that are classic dark wash, you know, and fits your body type. So make sure you find something that fits your body type. That's probably something I would, because you use jeans all the time. I do anyway. So and I think with COVID, the lines are a bit more blurred, even in the strict corporate world where you had your dress code, even that there it's a bit more blurred now with the home office, and you know what's casual and what's not. So I think jeans are quite an essential, so would splurge on those, and then the rest, definitely find there's so many gems to be found at Topshop and H&M and Zara. So I personally love Zara.
I know, you find the best. I mean, you really do. Like, I'm always, whenever I go into Zara, I'm like, how does Connie do this? Like, I could go in and, you know, but luckily, again, it's like, great, I need to just order what she's just shared in her stories. You know, it's so good. Mango as well.
Too. I mean, for only $10 a month, you can have my handpicked monthly handpicks for your body shape. So you do a questionnaire, and based on that, I will every month send you my handpicked items of the month, both designer and high street. So that
I know, which is a no-brainer. I have to say, I still to this day love, I think it's probably about a year old now, but you shared, last winter in you know, in the subscription, the skirt from Mango, the full leather. Oh my gosh, every time I wear that, I literally am saying gratitude for you, Connie, when I get it out. It's like 35 pounds, you guys, and I get so many compliments on it, and it looks so good. Yeah, it is, it's golden. Right, let me get back to these questions though. Okay, this is a great one. In fact, I've got 2 questions that are kind of similar, so maybe you can answer these in one go. Claire asks, what are your 3 non-negotiables for feeling your best? Okay, and sort of almost like piggybacking off that, Susan asks, if you are feeling low, so if you're having a day where maybe you are not feeling your most confident, okay, what's your go-to to really dress the part? So almost like your 3 non-negotiables for feeling your best. And would that be any different if you were having a day where you felt like you were lacking in confidence, doubting yourself, again, especially here in a mindset community where people are, you know, going after big goals, and therefore they're coming across those self-doubt moments? What for you, I guess you could answer this in general, and I'm curious to like what you would do, Connie, to really, again, yeah, like dress the part that then lifts your confidence, boosts you.
I'm just noting. To feel my best, I work out. So I think that's something that makes me just feel a lot better, and will lift my mood instantly. So that's definitely a non-negotiable. And then if I don't feel, if I am supposed to do something that I lack confidence, I do a lot of cold calling, which, you know, I'm getting more comfortable with, but, you know, it's always difficult. So I have dresses are my thing. So a power dress, not in like a traditional sense that like power dressing, but a dress that makes me feel powerful and gets me into character, where I feel like, you know, very stylist. So that, and a pair of heels. Yeah, that's my,
that would be your
and a coat. I love coats. I'm a coat addict, so I will just,
the coat makes a difference. It does make a difference though, because interestingly, I guess that's the other, going back to like Elizabeth's question, the faux pas that people can make. You can have a beautiful outfit on, but if you're putting a shabby coat on over it, it's, you know, again, it changes the whole tone. I like that. And it is what I love about that. And I think we spoke to this on the morning call today, but this idea of kind of like getting into character. And I think I made the analogy of, if you think of even like a little kid dressing up as a superhero, like you can pretend to be Spider-Man, but when you put the Spider-Man outfit on, it takes the experience up a notch, right? It's the same for us, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think also, you know, the way actors work, I don't think they would be you know, getting into character as well if they weren't dressed as the character they're playing, obviously. So it does help a lot.
Absolutely, so right. It's all about getting into the energy of it. There was one other here, but I actually do think you've picked this up a little bit, where you've answered Shandon's question around body types, because this was a one of someone that had said, what if you're not exactly, you know, what if you don't exactly have, like, say, like a typical kind of model physique? I'm not tall and thin. What would you suggest? What works best? Is that really just, again, about your body type? Like, what, I presume?
It's about knowing what you should wear to bring out the best in you. And, you know, my client in Sydney, she was absolutely not, you know, model measurements or height, but we just picked the right garments for her and figured out what worked best for her, and she felt so good. So, you know, it's for everyone, and it's not, it's just finding the right items.
It's again, and if I speak a little bit, I guess, even just to the mindset part of that, it's truly loving the you that you are. It's truly about becoming, it's going to sound cliche, I know, but like becoming the best you that you can be, and accepting, I guess, like what you were saying to me with the cardigan, you might just have to accept that big cardigan isn't going to work for you, Karen, right? It is that, like, I joke, right, clients, you'll know this one, it's that, like, it is what it is, accept it, right? Harvest the good, forgive all the rest. This is what I would say, like, when you're dealing with a challenging situation. To me, that might be, I just have to embrace that the chunky, beautiful cardigans that I see people wearing are not going to work for me. I have to forgive, let it go. Right, let me just, I'm very mindful. I'm going to try and wrap this up in the next sort of 5 minutes or so, because I just don't want to take up too much of your time. But I also,
it's important to think that, you know, our brain is trained to think that, or at least, you know, I think for most people that are used to going to the office, and now that it's all home office and we're a little bit confused, and like I said, the lines are blurred, and but I think still for most of us, our brain is trained to think that if I'm dressed up and I will be productive, I will, you know, do my work and be efficient. So if you're wearing sweatpants all day long, and then you're sending your, you know, you're not sending those efficiency and productivity signals to the brain that you would if you dressed up. So I think it's maybe a way to help you like get into character and do maybe those things that you're dreading, or you like me with the cold calls that I don't always want to do, but I know it's very necessary. So
yeah, it's a really good point, that actually you really got me thinking, because I've received, you know, I'll have conversations with people, and of course you know, the world that we live in now, that's changed in the last couple of years, clearly has enabled people to get into, let's say, I don't want to again say like bad habits, but kind of, right? Like some of our standards may have slipped. And interestingly, yeah, I think if you can set certain standards for yourself, it's, and when you start showing up a certain way and doing certain things for yourself to begin with, even if to begin with it feels like, this isn't normally who I am or how I'd show up, you know, you're creating that new identity, right? Like you're the more you do it, the more you're giving yourself the evidence of like, this is who I am, you know, and you get to step into that more. Yeah, I love that. So it's a really good point. I'm just looking into the chat here because people are Amanda is saying mum jeans seem to be fashionable in the UK. Do you recommend those or skinny? I feel like I know your answer for that. Well, go on. What would you recommend, Connie?
depends on your body shape.
I knew she was going to say that. I knew that it was going to be. It depends, right? It's that whole. Yeah.
I love mom jeans. I think they're super cool, but I do not look good in them, unfortunately. So I've had to let them go, and skinny jeans for that matter. So I realized that to me it's better to have something in between. But you know, and again, what signal do you want to send? You know, think about what think about that. And
yeah, you converted me on that, and that's a really good point actually, on just the photos. Like you don't see this so much when you're just looking yourself and seeing yourself in the mirror, versus you pointing out to me, not in, you know, in a really nice way. And it wasn't as if like, oh, the skinny jeans really didn't work, but it was kind of, well, if you look at these compared with this pair, and then the other extreme actually, and it was kind of like, oh, actually, yes, when I'm comparing them, I can completely see what you mean now. You know, so yeah, it is actually. Karen, I realized I missed Karen's comment, and Karen, not, you know, obviously we share the name, but you're a lady after my heart with this question as well. She says, the question really is like, how do you look put together while staying at home? So she says, you know, I feel like the last year has been a lot of comfort wear and lounge wear. How do you look put together while staying at home?
I think with staying at home, it's a little bit about balance again. So, you know, wear jeans, but then wear something that maybe a shirt or a blouse or a blazers, or if you perhaps if you have a cashmere oversized sweater, then try to find some trousers that are perhaps slimmer and tailored, so that you can have the comfort but still feel like it's put together.
Yeah, that, I have to say, that is something I feel like I discovered in the last couple of years, in the last couple of winters. Just cashmere sweaters, and you don't realize the difference that something like that makes. Well, you will, Connie, I know I'm speaking to the converted, but I didn't realize, and to the point where when I now got to put on like a sweater that isn't, it's like, oh, like it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't even look even on a screen, I feel like it doesn't even look the same. and things like that, you can get really good ones. I mean, I'm not the expert here, but in the UK, you know, like Marks and Spencer, their cashmere sweaters are actually really good. You know, that doesn't have to, you don't have to get a bank loan to go and get it out. So, okay, I think I'm just double checking on the questions. Oh, Elizabeth, we can't ignore Elizabeth. There's one from Elizabeth here. As a creative, I love bold prints, colors, and I'm in my 40s. What's the best way to wear them to complement an hourglass figure?
Oh, just, I think it's about wearing one piece, you know, not the whole outfit. So make sure that the rest of your outfit is fairly neutral. So, and I, in my experience, if you have lots of color and lots of bold prints, black is not necessarily the best color. So try to find other colors that are not as harsh to go with it. So try to keep the rest, pick one piece, like if it's your blouse or if your trousers or if it's whatever, just try to keep the rest neutral. That would be probably, and for Hourglass, everything that follows your body shape is your friend. So just, yeah, that just enhances your incredible shape and will always be a good style for Hourglass.
So good, so good. Love that. What are the details? And Elizabeth, are you asking? I know, I think there's a delay on here because you say, I love that. What are the details to do that, please, Connie? Is that for Connie's subscription on newsletter? Maybe we can drop a link, Connie, because I think you probably will have a link for your subscription, your $10 a month. So maybe
it's if you're here, it's connieo.no/shop. So
connieo.no/shop. Cool. We can, and again, we'll type that in. But also, I have, are all of your links over on Instagram, in your profile on Instagram as well?
At least if you click on the link in bio, you'll get into my website, and you know, it's easy to find.
Perfect.
Or DM me, it's I will send it.
Yes. This, I know I keep saying one last one. This is a good one. Undergarments make a huge difference to how you feel. What essential undergarments would you recommend as women we should invest in? So for example, control underwear, lingerie, that type of thing.
No, I will definitely say a pair of matching beautiful lingerie, because it's, again, like the kick-ass heels, or the fuck you heels, I call them. And it's that when you are facing a difficult situation, if you're going to a difficult board meeting, or you're facing you know, a difficult client, if you have those power heels on, those fuck you heels, and you can just feel like, yeah, I can deal with it. I think the same goes with underwear. You just know that there's just a different feeling when you have that on. So I definitely recommend that. You know, a comfortable bra that you can wear, that will not show under your t-shirt or blouse. Yeah, I don't know, I would have to think about more, but definitely.
Have you got any favorite brands, I guess, again, in terms of like if you want a budget versus if you could splurge for underwear?
Yeah, so definitely for splurging, La Perla is my favorite. They have incredibly beautiful stuff. I think Skims has amazing stuff for like basics. You know, bralettes and cotton, super comfortable and fairly affordable stuff. So Skims is definitely a brand to look into. Yeah, those perhaps the...
Cool. Good. Okay, so I think, looking back in the chat, I think we've hopefully picked up all of your questions, you guys. Obviously, do feel free to type in afterwards, and if Connie, as and when gets time, she may be able to direct you. But as I say, I know a lot of the basics and the wardrobe essentials and tons of what we've covered. You, again, if you sign up for the newsletter, you'll get that, and then the subscription, it really does kind of go with body type. So then you would be getting, you know, every month you'd get kind of recommendations. I guess just to sort of, you know, finish off and pull together, you had me doing an exercise that was great around, well, just the perceptions that we make.
Yes.
And so again,
Yes.
just has you. So would you share that? I think it might be
Yes,
powerful for
absolutely.
people. So
So let's close your eyes, and
you can do
then
it.
you think of this woman that's walking down the street. You see her on the other side of the street. She's wearing a tailored suit. She's wearing Manolo Blahnik heels and a beautiful coat and an Hermes bag. So what what do you think of her? What's your perception of her? Where would you place her? What is she achieving in life?
Mm.
You can go ahead and answer now, Karen.
I love it actually. My imagination goes there straight away. Like even to the color, it was like a beautiful camel coat. She was wearing it just slung over her shoulders. She didn't even have her arms in it. Isn't it funny how like your imagination just does this for you? And interestingly, I mean, as soon as you said like, what is she achieving? It's that it really does take you to that place of, well, of course she's successful. It was almost like, well, that was a no-brainer. Like that was instantly like, and I don't mean in terms of I didn't think of anything in particular that she does, but it's truly just, yeah, well, she's and confident, right? Like confident in herself,
Confident.
owning who she is, like absolutely. Oh gosh, I loved it. Like, and you know what was interesting, because you didn't even mention this. Oh, and this is really good. This is so powerful, because also her hair, of course, was beautifully done and put together. It wasn't just the clothes. I mean, you only mentioned a few little things there. Yet
So
in seconds, my
point with
imagination
that,
went to the
yeah.
whole thing was put together.
So my point with that exercise is that, I might have the same perceptions as you, but somebody might think she's a cold bitch,
Oh, true.
pardon my
True, I know.
language.
Yes, yeah, true.
I
Let us
don't
know in the
know what
chat, you
you're going
guys.
to
Did
bring
anybody
to
come up with
her, but
anything different?
you've already, made up your mind about what this woman have achieved. But let's say that for you and me, if that's how we perceive a successful woman who is perhaps everything that you and I aspire to be, then if you can try to dress more like her and try to wear pieces that she would wear, even though you don't have the budget, but still you can find good pieces that will make you so you much easier get into that feeling of that person that you want to be. So, and that's what you teach us, right? So beautifully, like
Yeah,
you have to be and
become.
not wish.
Yeah, being, exactly. It's all about being, which, and you're right, we were talking about this, well, we've been doing about this deeper in the client community this week, but absolutely what you just said, it's that difference between, are you wishing or are you being? And in order to be, you really do have to take it to that physical plane. It's not enough to just do it in your imagination. We've got to move this energy into physical. You and I were having a conversation around, like such a lot is about the feeling. Who do you feel yourself to be? And this idea of the emotion, right? Like emotion is energy in motion, right? Like you were sharing again, like, oh gosh, I love this. But it's true, you're doing that. Think about it, like you're doing that with your style, like that energy in motion. Well, you're doing it with, who you're stepping into. I love it. And it is interesting. And you're right, we do make judgments. Yeah, it is. And I know you did that to me, where it's like almost, okay, now flip it and imagine, somebody walking down the street and I don't know, like that.
Yeah, if you do the same exercise and you imagine a woman with leggings and flip-flops and no pedicure and perhaps her hair in a ponytail, and you make assumptions and you have your perceptions about that woman too. So
Yeah,
just be mindful of where you want to go and try to
align it, isn't it? And even with like the latter example, interestingly for all of us, there's always degrees within it, because you could equally be the person that's in leggings and a ponytail. If you're perfect, if you're beautifully groomed, and so you still get that energy, you still get that, so it's not so necessarily all about, oh, it always has to be this way. And I think that's what you've spoken to so beautifully in this session, as being,
yeah. And I want to share too about bargain hunting. I think some of many people pride themselves on being bargain hunters, and I want to question that a little bit. So, and try to think a little bit more about that, wearing that as a badge of honor, because I think if that's a way of saying that you're okay with the leftovers. So if you are just constantly on the bargain hunt instead of really buying what you want, you're doing yourself this favor. Is
this
that
service? Yeah.
So I think that's a good point to perhaps think about how you think about bargain hunting. And also one thing that you said to me, like if you're always looking for that bargain and you pride yourself in getting the cheapest or the best deal all the time, how can you accept people to want to pay full price for your services and your products? And I thought that was such an excellent point. So, you know, rather than, you know, try to find what it is that you really want and go for that instead of always, you know, shopping on sales and perhaps ending up with stuff that aren't exactly the way you want it, but at least you got it for 50% off, right?
Oh my gosh, like that is like speaking to my soul. Seriously, I just adore what you said there. It's so true. It's so true. It's so powerful what we again, it's this, like any of you that were doing, I know Elizabeth's loving it. She's probably standing up like clapping now. She's like, boom, mic drop moment. And Elizabeth, I can picture her, you know, you can picture her behind the camera like yes. But it's so true. Like any of you that have been doing the PPH calls with me last week, it's like what will you demand of yourself? What will you've got to accept that higher concept of yourself? And you're so right if you're saying, gosh, thank you for sharing that, Connie. Like, yeah, what is it that you're saying? Great if you get a bargain, if it was something that you genuinely were going to buy anyway, you know, like amazing if, you know, I'm sure that Hermes bag doesn't ever get put on discount, but you know, there'll be certain things which, okay, great, that works. But yes, otherwise, is it really even worth it? And how often, there'll be so many people that will know this, how often do you get something, you know, in a sale because of the price, which quite frankly is still money controlling you,
so
and then you never wear it.
That is, I help a lot of my clients with that. So one of them said, like, I've saved money because every time I go shopping and there's a sale, I'm like, oh, but this is not on Connie's list, so I shouldn't, why, like that's not a priority right now. So it's a great way to know
always sorry, go ahead, I was talking over you. You always say as well, which just made me think, like, if you don't love it, like it's a no. Like I think that's always like a golden rule that's kind of in my head too now as well. Like if you don't love it, it's a no. And again, this just speaks to how you see yourself. Like this really, again, this brings it beautifully as we're wrapping up to that idea of who you see yourself to be. It's all about how you see yourself, really, what you will accept of yourself, who you will allow yourself to be, and of course having the tools to step into all that you're sharing, Connie, but obviously like that inner work as well, so that you've got both going on, that you're allowing yourself to become her or him, but at the same time you've got the inner dialogue that's reinforcing that you get to be this, that you are worthy, that it's all here for you. I love that. So impactful. That, I mean, we'd actually said, we're like, yeah, maybe half an hour. We've been an hour, so let's wrap up. But that hour flew. Like, that was so good. I mean, thank you. Yes. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I know everyone here will have got a ton of value from this session. If you're watching us on replay, let us know. Give us the hashtag replay. Do go find Connie. You must follow this lady on over on Instagram. It's Clean and Lean Connie. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, so it's a Clean and Lean Connie. Elizabeth dropped it in the chat anyway. I think she also dropped your website link in here too. So again, go check out the newsletter and the subscription and things as well, which is great. But thank you. It's a great reminder. Everyone go and up the style game for the afternoon now. Go and get your nails done, ladies. Get the nail file out, get the nail varnish out. Yeah, so good. Susie says, love this Thank you. Yeah, absolute pleasure. It really is. So yeah,
Yes,
thank you for taking the
you.
time. Thanks for joining us, Connie. I think we're actually going to save this this interview. We'll put it in guide 1 with the self-image webinar, and we'll actually like kind of have a self-image guide. So you've got both components here now. Like you've really got that, the outer image, and if you go watch the self-image webinar in terms of the mindset and where you've got to get, so you're taking your thinking from where you've always thought of yourself, like up onto that higher level, it might open up for you just how you're like, okay, well, how does that version of me show up? How does she, you know, present herself and feel about herself, and everything that goes with, you know, what Connie's been speaking to today. So yeah. Okay, we will leave it there. Thank you for joining us. Connie, again, thank you so much for being so generous with your time and your advice and all of your expertise. Yeah, I've loved it too. I always learn from you. It's fantastic. All right, take care, guys. We'll see you back in here soon. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye.